Hey, what's happening, everybody? Welcome, welcome. All right, we're getting settled in. How's it going? All right, are we in? Are we on? Let's do this thing. Hi. Hey, what's going on? I'm Sandra Funk, and this is Design Sips, where we take a little glass of wine and we talk about the business of interior design. Who's ready to rock? It's rosé all day. Give me a heart if you are in need of a cocktail. Give me a thumbs up if you have a cocktail. And if you do have a cocktail, comment what you're drinking. Now, if you're drinking like an amazing oolong, I'm gonna need to hear that too. I'm just saying, let's share the love no matter if it's, heavy libations or a nice, beautiful cup of tea, because you gotta do what you gotta do. All right, you all. Today I am drinking, I don't know if you know, I've been on this Miraval kick, but a Miraval rosé. It's yummy. Cheers to you. Oh yeah, it's like really yummy. Okay, so let's dive in. I have such a very special episode today to share with you. I cannot wait. We are having 4 special guests today. They're going to join me here. I am going to get it through all the tech all by myself, so you're going to give me a lot of grace. Deal? Okay, good. So these guests are all members of the Standard who enrolled this past April and have been implementing the Standard ever since. So we are going to hear from some Standard members who are going to share with you what it's really like to be a Standard person, right? So for those of you who don't know, the Standard is literally a template of how I run my interior design firm. Who the heck am I? Who cares how I run my design firm? Well, let me tell you a little bit about me. I started out as a business process consultant with a finance degree way back a million years ago before I went into interior design. I've been doing interior design since 2001, so 20 years, which is just literally mind-blowing. And I've had my own firm since 2005. So my firm, multi-million-dollar firm, we're making 6 figures, things are amazing. I'm going to conferences and talking to other designers and realizing that there's a lot of disconnect, in our industry. Like, not everyone is able to get that business side locked down. So I started helping as much as I could, but what I realized is little piece doesn't really make a great firm. It really has to all thread together. And I'm still in that boat, right? I'm still making sure that my terms and conditions match my FAQs, match the things that I'm saying on my website, and match the experience that my clients actually get day in and day out when they're dealing with my firm. So it's how it all weaves together is so important. It starts all the way back at marketing and goes all the way to the final punch list. So while I wanted to help my fellow designers, I didn't feel I could do it piecemeal. It just really didn't work for me. It didn't work for them. It wasn't very helpful at all. So what I decided to do was really put together a template, soup to nuts, how the whole process threads together. Now, this process is something that I've been working on and refining and constantly updating and learning my tough lessons and updating for 15 years. So it is thorough, it is big, it is a great, big, beautiful template to run a beautiful design firm, which I hope we will hear today in the chat. So the Standard, because I'm still running that design firm, we only open the Standard for a couple of times a year for about a week at a time. Again, I have a design firm to run and a whole bunch of other things that are going on in my life. So this is sort of our way of doing it, but not having it consume us. And I'm excited to announce the Standard enrollment is coming up very, very soon. We open the doors on September 15th. So if you are interested in being a part of the Standard, you need to go and reserve your spot right now, okay? It is so important. Go to interiordesignstandard.com and just sign up to reserve your spot so that you find out exactly when we're open and that you have a place in that queue, all right? Let's dive in to the conversation. Our first guest is Kristi Patterson of Grace Hill Designs. Kristi is 10 years in the business, and she does mostly full service interior design, including high-end new construction. Awesome. She also has a retail home furnishing store. After taking the standard, Kristi was able to confidently price her services and enhance the way she works with clients. Let's bring Kristi on. All right, so we are going to try our best to figure out how to do such things. Let's bring Kristi on. Okay, so Grace Hill, let's do this. I said you guys have to give me some grace because there's technology involved. Ah, there you are, it worked.
Hi, Sandra, how are you?
I'm so good, how are you?
I'm good.
Awesome.
You're in my favorite city. I love Nashville.
Oh, it is my favorite city too right now. It is so much fun.
So fun.
I so appreciate you coming on. Thank you very, very much. And
Absolutely.
we are to a couple of questions. So prior to the standard, you were really struggling with undercharging for your services. Tell us what that looks like now.
So I had, for years I had done hourly billing, and I did exactly what you had described in the past, where I got that pit in my stomach and I was afraid to send the invoice at the end of the project because I kind of avoided the conversation early by saying, oh, I just charge hourly, here's my rate. And then you spend so much time on a project and the client never really knows what to expect. And so we switched to a flat fee. And before the standard, we had kind of a one size fits all, and it was a certain price per room. And it just seemed like every request that came in didn't fit into that box. And so I ended up trimming it down and taking things out. And I just found that I was kind of resentful from the beginning because I felt like I wasn't charging what I should have been from the get-go because nothing fit into that box. So your formula really gave us the tools you kind of have almost like a sliding scale where it is a way of looking at your numbers, but maybe not, or maybe it's not doing remodeling, but it's doing just the furniture alone. So you've got ways of really taking a formula, but adjusting it to that client's needs and adjusting it to kind of how we've worked in the past.
Awesome. That just gives me so much excitement because I know how much I struggled when I was charging hourly, setting expectations. And even when I would set expectations and I would say how much I think it was going to end up being, because I had learned very difficult lessons of showing up with a humongous bill and having total shock. When I did, in fact, coach them through what I thought it was going to take, I really still ended up literally having clients say, well, I just thought we'd be more efficient than that. I thought we'd make decisions quicker. Like I just had clients straight out tell me that even though I was directing them to where I think it was going to go financially, they didn't believe that it would happen to them. They thought that
because they always think they're going to be the easiest clients that we've ever had. And they never are.
Trying to be the difficult client, and I'm like, if you started the sentence like that, you might be on the difficult client list.
I know. Well, the other thing that you two taught me, and it was a really important lesson, was have those conversations about the investment in the project. And the word investment is better than how much do you want to spend. It's more how much are you investing in your home. And having those conversations from the very beginning, even in that first discovery call, and just saying to them, a typical room like this for us is going to be within this range. Does that sound good to you? And that was a really important thing for us to say. And to be honest, some people never called back, but the ones that called back are the ones that we have great projects with now. And that just was a huge game changer for us. And there were a lot of them that went silent for a little while, and then maybe they did homework, maybe they talked to other designers, but they sat with it for a while, and then they realized, okay, this is what we need to invest in the room to get it to the level that we see in your portfolio. And so it just changed the dynamic completely because we had those conversations so early up front before we spent any time. We weren't justifying it when we were selling the design. We were then able to just sell the design instead of sell the design and how much it's going to cost, which was huge.
Yes. I did a presentation yesterday. The days are all morphing together. When you're under deadline, you have a huge presentation and can't see straight. I had a big presentation yesterday, and my favorite line of my pre-written agenda template is, we're on target with the budget we set together. So you can
Yes.
on the pretty. And I say it, and every time that the project, it all comes together in the final week. It's all it's all moving until it clicks into place that final, like 2 days before. And when I run the numbers and I run the budget and I'm like, yeah, we're on budget. We're on budget because we've done this a million times. We're on budget. We know exactly who our vendors and trades are. We know exactly who our sources are. We know the level of art and accessories we're going to take this job to. And when those numbers just work and they work and you can depend on them and you can count on them and you're not, constantly running those numbers and constantly stressing and waking up in the middle of the night, like to be able to say, let's just focus on the beauty of your new home.
That's just it. It takes the presentation then becomes about the creative process and not about the numbers and the budget, because they've always, just letting them know that you're within budget, just lets them, I think, enjoy the whole process and the whole meeting. I don't think they're sitting there thinking, oh, what is this going to be? What is this going to cost me?
Oh, and for years I would sit there and I would have full smiles from half of the crowd, and I would have just this look of painful fear because they could feel that it was expensive and it was luxurious and all the layers, and I was selling it, but I could just see, oh shit, what is this going to
Exactly.
And half of the couple always has that just, oh my gosh, what am I in for face. Now I'm like, we set a budget together. I made you sign it. We did a line by line, and
Right.
like, I am beholden to that. And that's really important. Like, I will never show up to a meeting after signing a budget with a client and not behold to that. That's,
Well,
that's
the other thing is the way that you taught us how to do it was based on our own numbers too. And so you gave us the tools on how to do it, but it's based on what our past billings have been and what typical projects, you kind of said, pick the 4 or 5 projects that went the way you wanted them to go, and they went as far as you wanted them to go, and look at those numbers and use those as kind of your template as far as what it would cost to do something new. And so I think that was so helpful too, because you gave us a lot of information, but yet it was very customizable for us as well.
that's so good to hear.
Yeah.
That is so great that clicked, because a lot of our follow-ups with new members of the standard are, wait, so what does that number include? And I'm like, it includes whatever it includes for you, right? It's all about going back to your data and going back, how far, what do you want it to include? Do you want to sell the cabinetry, or do you want your GC to bring that piece to the table? Do you want to do art, or are you going to bring in an art consultant at the end and you don't want to have that in your budget? Like, that's, when we say we all do it differently, we do, but that doesn't mean we can't systematize the business part of it, right?
Right. And you were just, the amount of information and data that was included in the standard, we were within 2 weeks, we had new presentations to our client. We had a new contract. We had our system, we've been doing it for 10 years, so it's not like we started from scratch, but it definitely buttoned us up. And the biggest thing was that we then told our client, we knew what our systems were, but we were not necessarily communicating it to our client well enough. And so this just put us more in the driver's seat and just more of a leader in the process than having to explain your way through it as you go. We told them what to expect from the beginning.
Yes, I love that. I love that. Outlining it ahead. And so, yeah, I love that. They're looking for a leader. They're hiring an expert, right?
Exactly.
They can buy a sofa. They can figure it out. They can paint the room. They want someone to lead a project, right? They want, just like I hire a lawyer, a CPA, a doctor. I actually had my new CPA for me, I just moved, who was like, she's so sweet that she was like, my recommendation would be X, but we can talk about it. And I was like, no. I want you to be firm with me. I want you to be the bottom line. If there's wiggle room, I want you to tell me that, but I want you to push it to my bottom line and then tell me what that line is. And I think that our clients are coming to us looking for expertise. They want us to take that design as far as we can. They want us to tell them what a room of this caliber is going to, what the investment's going to be. If we ask them for their budget, they're guessing, right?
They have no idea. And it will always be lower than what the room is going to cost. The other thing was that when, we've always had a contract, and we had the information in the contract, but now that we have the beautiful presentation with those key things in the contract about, how long things take, when you'll see the next presentation, that there's one round of changes, that this is the way that we mark things up, or this is the way that we bill. Those are words in a contract that we've always had, but the way that we put together that presentation with our beautiful images and the words that you shared with us, and kind of how we rewrote it to apply to our business, it just made them get it so much more, because I don't know, it's a visual way of walking them through our process versus, a 10-page contract that nobody wants to read.
Yeah, right. No, of course not, right? No fun at all.
Yeah.
All right. So, okay, we have another question that we talked about ahead of time. So you mentioned that you were hesitant to enroll in the standard because you've taken programs before that required a lot of homework from you. What was your experience with implementing the standard?
I just could not believe how quickly we were able to jump in and use the tools that you had. I mean, you had spreadsheets, and you had, you still had to go through our data, but you had spreadsheets on how to calculate what your averages are and how to look at a room, from start to finish, including the last accessory that goes in, and the painter that painted the walls. I mean, it's really from start to finish. And so the fact that the first thing that we did was we started presenting how we work and why you would work with us, and really our process and our expertise. And so that was the first thing that we did. The other thing that we did was we immediately started talking to them about budgets. So that was another just instantaneous. It's not that we didn't, we knew what we thought the room was going to come in at, but we weren't telling them that until you taught us that's the way to, bring that up in the beginning, because get their buy-in in the beginning, and find your people that can afford you, and find your people that really want to go as far as you do. Some people just want to get a new sofa, or, a new rug in a room, and a couple pillows. But we are looking for people that really want to go through the whole process with us. And so I think just the way that you taught us to verbalize it and lead them through the process was just, it took a week or two, and we were making changes. So, and in other courses, it's like, oh, you have to redesign your website. You have to think about this. Who's your avatar? Who's your ideal client? And we kind of knew all that, but you gave us much more definitive tools that were instantaneously able to edit to ourselves, to our agency.
I thank you so much, because to hear it reflected back that it worked, because my intention when putting this together, I was running an interior design firm, right, for many years when I decided that I was going to put this template together. And my objective was it has to be able to just drop into this business. There's no extra time. No CEO of a design firm has extra time. And early on in product development and creation and thinking about what the standard would be, the word homework kept getting bounced around, and I was like, no, there's no homework. No, there's just grab and go. There's templates, there's downloads, but you're not at that level in your life where you can stop. And it had to be as easy and as simple to drop in as possible. And it just makes me so happy to hear that.
That's exactly how it went. It just was, you gave us the templates, the tools, and we could adjust, but it was instantaneous. I mean, our next client and our next call that we got a project, we used your system. It wasn't in 3 months or 6 months. We were able to then start to transition into it.
Awesome. And tell us about your team and where you are, and just people want to hear, how did that work for her? Can it work for me?
So we are in Wayzata, Minnesota, which is a suburb of the Twin Cities. We're in a lake community, so we're on Lake Minnetonka, which is kind of a famous lake here in Minnesota. And it's very kind of a lakey feel kind of a high-end area, and we have a retail store in addition to our design firm. So that has also been a little bit of a challenge for us in the past, because a lot of people think, well, why don't you just give free design services if you're selling furniture? But we've really separated the businesses, and we have people that want to come in and just shop and order furniture and accessories on their own, and then we have people that want to hire a designer. And so we've been doing it for 10 years, just had our anniversary in June. Yay. And we are a team of 8 people, and we have a great team. We love to work with the people that just want to come in for some extra help, and we love to work with people start to finish. You know, we do a lot of new construction, we do a lot of remodels, and kind of whole house. We kind of tend to do like one floor, and then we get hired again to do the next floor. Because once you start working with clients, it's great that we've been able to just kind of continue to work with them in the future.
Yes, awesome. I love that. That's always my favorite compliment from a client, is that you made the rest of the house look really terrible. And I'm like, oh, sorry.
Exactly. Yes.
Such good stuff. Well, it is so wonderful to hear your story. I appreciate it so, so very much. Thank you.
Well, thank you. And thank you to your whole team. I mean, every single person on your team, you know, Sarah responds so quickly. If people have questions, your team responds, and also the group responds. So sometimes we just throw questions out there, and other designers across the country answer as well. So it's a great program.
Yeah, I love the community inside the Facebook community. I just think that that's where the long-term benefits will be just really incredible, of all these designers helping each other and speaking apples to apples about their business. I love that.
Yeah, definitely. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
We have to do, okay, so we're going to go ahead and click the little exit button on, now we have to do the tech. I apologize about that.
Okay, that's okay. This is what I'm not good at either, so I'm not.
Did we figure it out? Let me see.
Did that go away?
I think so. Okay, all right. Wasn't that amazing? I mean, seriously, to get, and also think about it, not just getting yourself on board with a new idea, but the standard has this incredible ability, because it's all videos and it's all very downloadable and very digestible. You can train yourself, right? You can learn the standard for yourself, or you can have an 8-person team take on the standard, because of course you're going to share it with your whole team. So I love that. That is so great. Our next guest is Sandy Brudner of Sandy B Interiors. Sandy is 13 years in the business, and she designs homes in Israel for people living overseas who own investment or vacation apartments. She plans, designs, project manages, furnishes, and styles new builds and renovations. After taking this, are we jumping in? Let's do it. Are we adding on? Okay, after taking the standard, Sandy was able to streamline and organize her business. So let's bring Sandy on. I like that name, girl after my own heart. Okay, so let's see if I can make this work. Wish me all the luck, people. All right, Sandy B. I don't know if I've got Sandy out there. We may have to go on to the next one and see if Sandy can request to join us. There's too many people on my list from all the other times that I've done this that I can't find you right now, Sandy. So if you could request to join this live, I will let you in. We are going to skip on ahead to Amy, and I'm not sure if I'm saying it right, TerMarsch of Amy Elizabeth Designs. Amy is 9 years in the business, and she does mostly residential first, full service interior design and renovations. After taking the standard, Amy was able to strengthen her processes and utilize a contract that fit her business. I love that. All right, let's see if I can make tech happen, people. We're gonna try it. Oh, and we've got like an errant hair gone rogue today. You know how it's gonna be, me playing with my hair. My apologies. All right, where are we at, people? We got it!
Hey, Sandra.
What's happening?
How are you?
Good. Cheers to you. What's doing?
Good. Not much. How are you?
Very good. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Awesome. 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 Okay. So we are going to jump in. We have lots of questions. Prior to the standard, you were struggling with efficiency efficiently structuring and organizing systems. So tell me about what it looked like before the standard for you.
So I feel like after 9 years, you kind of try things and that doesn't work. And then you implement some things and you kind of are all over the place. And at times you can listen to so many different podcasts, right? And you're like, okay, so I'm going to take this, this, this. So I was kind of all over the place. And so I knew I just needed something where it was a streamlined process, where there was templates, where they were tangible. And I saw from start to finish this very like linear kind of process. So I could see myself and my business and plug into that. And that's exactly what was delivered. I think the biggest thing for me was the setting expectations from the beginning, and you kind of drove that home. And that process at the beginning, that was the light bulb moment. I'm like, oh, if I do this now, all these other processes will just start to click into place, because I knew kind of what I was doing, but there were holes in certain spots. And I'm like, I just needed those filled in. And once I started going through it, I'm like, this makes so much sense. So yeah, that was huge for me.
Awesome. Oh, that's so good. That's good stuff. I love it. Thank you. Thank you. And let me tell you, filling in all those holes, I can go back and I can tell you a story from every hard lesson that I learned in figuring out that I had a hole there.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. You don't know what you don't know. So until it comes in, you're like, oh, shoot. Yeah, that I've never even thought of. And because each project is different, like people think, okay, so it's interior design. So it's just this really easy project. You start, you go shopping, you get some stuff, and it's not. Every project is different. So there's always these things that come up. And yeah, there's so many different times I'm like, I didn't think of that. So yeah, that was awesome to have some areas like just really filled in.
Yep. Wonderful. Wonderful. I'm so glad it's helped you. I really am. So, okay, tell me and everyone out there if you had any hesitation before enrolling in the standard, and what got you.
I think my only hesitation was the cost at first, because I kept going, okay, so, I'm a little bit more conservative when I think, okay, what do I want to spend? But I kept looking and I kept kind of stalking the Facebook group, like, okay, and I kept listening to people and I'm watching you, and like there's a couple times where I reached out and I'm like, okay, I'm not yet. But then I think it was the thing where my husband and I were talking and he's like, you have to spend money to make money, Amy. And I think I know it's a simple phrase and you hear it all the time, but when you really apply it to yourself and you're like, okay, so if I want to get to the next level, which I did, there's some areas that I don't know. And so I kind of was like, okay, so I'm going to take the leap of faith and I'm going to spend the money. And it's amazing. Even like the contract, like just being able to have something where I'm like, I feel secure. Like I ran it past my lawyer, and it's just something where I'm like, okay, so now this makes sense. And I'm not up at night going, okay, I really hope this works, So yeah, once I paid it, I was like, okay, that's awesome.
Yeah, so good to hear. And truly, I think there is that idea of, spending and, saving, all these different feelings about it. But I think at the end of the day, and I have found, again, I talk about the business consultant and the lawyer and the CPA and the coach, I have really found that when I invest in myself, right, and when I believe in my business, then that's where I need to put my money. My husband's always talking about this investment, that investment. He's an investment banker. And I'm like, I want to invest in me. I have ideas. I have things that I want to do. There's, more layers to this business for me. And I said, I'm putting my money where my mouth is. Like, I want to be invested in me. And I think that's incredible to see.
Huge. Yeah. Yeah. And it's something where for me, I'm like, okay, so there's always going to be something else I could put my money towards, that somebody, you have kids and a family, and you've got, I do anyways, a list of things. Like I could be spending money here, but it was that moment of like, well, it's all right to spend money on me and this business. And it's all right to better myself and to make my business profitable. And that's all right. Like you're not supposed to kind of shy away from it. And I think that mindset between you and a business coach, that was kind of my thing, where I'm like, okay, it's all right to invest in myself. Who says I can't? And when you kind of stand in that space, that to me was life-changing. So yeah, that was huge.
Awesome. I love that. Love, love, love to hear that. All right. So tell us some of the positive changes that you've seen in your business that came from the standard.
So Asana has changed my life. So I feel like that to me, just explaining it, and we have so many different projects going at one time. I had like notepads everywhere, right? And I had like something's here, and then I'm like, I know I wrote it down, I don't know where it's at. And so getting into like having that be part of like my main process from the very beginning, like getting a client and setting them up in all of, in Asana, and I use my Doma and a couple of other things, and getting everything all set up at the same time, and then feeling that confidence, like, okay, I'm not going to scramble for something. And Asana, just like having the letters of their names instead of not having like little things that, it's their last name, and having those just really streamlined and tightened. I now pull up my phone every morning and I can pull it up and see, okay, here's my tasks. Here's my list. This is what I need to do. And I don't know if anybody else is like this, but like I will put things on a regular list that I've already done just to cross it off because it makes me so happy. So Asana, I'm clicking the little like check marks and the little, narwhal or whatever is going across the screen. I'm like, I'm so happy. I just completed so many tasks. And that is huge, because then for me, that gives me motivation to be like, okay, I got this and I feel accomplished today. And that just, that was huge for me, because it brought that organization. Like I said before, I was kind of all over the place. So kind of bringing all of your processes, applying them, and then being able to have this huge spreadsheet that I have on my phone that I'm on anyways, being able to organize my projects. I felt like I had a handle on them finally.
Yeah, that's so awesome. I love so much, like if I have all of my tasks that are due today done, that I can then, go out into the future and like go and do something that's just purely creative, or invest in me, go take a class, listen to a podcast, do whatever that is. Like I just love the idea of getting through my days. Like I'm like kind of maniacal about like, let me just get my today tasks done so that I have some freedom in my schedule and I can do the creative, and I can lean out and I can organize the library a little bit, or like go on that hunt for that one special pillow fabric project. Like it just gives you the freedom to say like, I have time now to go do something for me or for the creative endeavor that, that this is all about.
And it takes away the overwhelm, right? Because then you have it all written down and you're like, okay, so I was able to get that off. Because if it's just kind of in your head, you're like, I have so much to do. I was just telling a friend this a couple of days ago. I'm like, if you just put it in, I told her about Asana, because now I feel like I'm going to be the poster child. But I'm like, if you write it all down, then you can cross it all off. Then you're like, you have that freedom of like, I finished it. So now what's something fun? It's like a reward. Now I can do something fun tonight. And you can be creative. It frees your brain space up.
Yes. And I think like has me sleeping through the night differently, because I just it's all handled. Didn't get done today. I know it's going to go up tomorrow with clear steps and processes. And like you said, I'll be able to find the client's address when I'm standing at FedEx to send them samples. Like I'm not going to be scrambling.
Yes. So yeah, which is huge.
Huge. Yeah. So, all right. So how likely is it that you would recommend the standard to a friend or colleague?
I actually just did. So yes. So I'm kind of making my own little group here in my town I'm like, okay, so you need to take this. So I just told her about you. So she knew who you were, but I'm like, you definitely have to take the standard. It is worth it. Worth every penny.
So good. Thank you so much. That means the world. And thank you. It's so important to me to hear that it's working for you, your journey, the feedback. Our goal with the standard is to have it be a lifelong program, right? The life of the standard, life of your business. So as we grow, as we learn, we get to improve it and have the entire industry rise together. So when I hear you suggesting it to other people, it just makes me feel like we're out there together, and that we really can just keep iterating and keep making it better. So keep that feedback coming. Definitely, I love all your participation in the groups and helping one another. It's world.
It's huge. Community. I love how, I think just the competition, there's no competition, it's community. And I think that's huge. Like, we're
Yeah.
supposed to be helping each other. What fun is it if we're on an island?
Yes, it's no fun, and it's pretty lonely and boring and sad. So no, we're always, and I keep saying it, and I love it, but we're stronger together. And that's
Yeah,
it.
exactly.
All
Thank
right,
you for everything, Sandra. You're awesome.
here. All right, we're gonna do the tech thing again. I'm gonna have it out. Try your best, and I'm gonna see if I can find the next designer to come on. All right, thank you, thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
All right, we are trying it. All right, are we going to Erin? Okay. So our next guest is Erin from Design Company. Erin is 7 years in the business and she does mostly full service interior design and remodeling. After taking the standard, Erin was able to gain the confidence she needed to go after high-end clients and build strong relationships. Awesome. All right, Erin, I am going to attempt to bring you on. Let us try. Okay. We are trying. Ah, there you are. Hello.
Hi,
Hi, welcome to Design Sips.
thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
Oh, I'm so thrilled. Thank you so much for doing this.
Yeah.
It means the world. All right, so tell me a little bit. So I have down here that you were struggling with having proper documentation in place to handle the type of clientele you were going after. Tell me a bit about before and after the standard.
Yeah, so I had actually just gone through the process of redoing my marketing and spent a couple of months doing that and who I was going to target. And I felt prepared to do that, but I didn't feel prepared, fully prepared. I felt like there were gaps, and completely resonated with what you said at the beginning in how it just felt it was piecemeal together, and you were looking to offer a full start to finish um, program that we could all implement right away. And I just didn't feel prepared really to take on those clients. I kind of felt like, well, who am I to take on, that type of client?
Yeah.
And so I've spent these last 7 years doing those processes and, working with a lawyer to do my contract and just getting all of those pieces in place. But I felt like a lot of it was still in my head. And I didn't know when I was going to grow, how I was going to do that. And it felt daunting to me to really take somebody else on and into my company and have them properly do what I need them to do, because a lot of it's in my head. So having gone through the standard, I really felt like now I have everything in place to target that clientele. And it was an instant thing. As I was going through it, it was like, oh my gosh, I've been doing this for years, but not quite to this level. And I was the very next client that came through, or the very next PC that came through, I instantly started using the documentation and I felt so confident. It was amazing.
Uh,
So, yeah.
Incredible. So good to hear. It's funny. We talk a lot about, and a lot of what this started with was charge your worth, charge your worth. Okay, yeah, yeah. How do you know how much you're worth, right?
Right. Yeah.
Like, then you go out there and you pull up your confidence and you put that big fee out there and you sign the client. But now you have to,
Right.
right? You have to bring the level of professionalism and the level of, communication. And obviously, I'm assuming you have the incredible, beautiful level of design, but a lot of us struggle with the processes, the business gumption, the contract that's rock solid, and then the
Yeah.
communication that a true high-end design client requires. And that's, I think, one of the things
Right.
that over and over and over again with all those hard lessons is
Yeah.
say that at the beginning. I need to say this. It was like the number of times that I thought to myself, I should have said that at the beginning, and just force myself, right? If it's in this presentation that I'm clicking through, I now don't have a choice. I can't skip something because it feels a little uncomfortable.
Right.
Happen.
Yeah, and it's funny that you say that because I wasn't charging, or I wasn't asking full payment from my clients for merchandise. And when I was going through this, I was like, why have I not been doing that? That is really, especially in today's climate, because it's months before we're seeing any product come in the door. I can't hold on to the cost of that merchandise. And so, I was going through this process, the contractual process with my client, and she said, now everything for merchandise is up front. And she kind of was like about to kind of give me the spiel about why it shouldn't be. And I gave her this, and I said, yep, and here's the reasons why. And she's like, okay, I fully understand that. And so it was like, and then also the payments too. The last couple of years, I have been adjusting my payments. What is the best way? Should I be doing, 25 up front, 25 this, 25 that? And again, we are not seeing the end of projects for months. And to be able to now get paid before I'm like heavy into these projects feels so good. And I feel like I can properly now like see what I'm making. I can accurately see my pipeline. I can accurately see my revenue. And it's huge. Like that has been one of the biggest headaches for me in my business, is the financial aspect, because I don't have that background, and I just didn't know how to structure it. And it's like, the hourly versus the flat rate, I cannot tell you enough about the flat rate. I am so elated by that, and being able to walk into, hand my contract over and just, what are your fees based on? Well, it's a flat rate fee. And to go through all that, it's just, I get no arguments as to what it is, what it includes, how many hours I'm doing. I feel less anxious about what I'm doing too. Because it's like, if I have to run somewhere and grab something, it's like, oh my gosh, this is an hour of my time. Well, they paid me for it, and that's already included in there. That's already, I feel less anxious, less anxiety about whether what I am doing is worth it. And I'm not scrambling through my designs like, oh, I have to meet, it is what it is. I'm not rushing through my hours. My clients aren't rushing me through my hours. And they paid me. We agreed on a cost. And I feel very confident on what I presented to them and what I've gotten paid. And that, I can't tell you how much my anxiety level has gone down. I mean, it's not only that, but for so many other things that I've implemented through this. So, yeah.
Hourly and my life flat fee is like night and day. It's like two different careers, let alone businesses. It just feels so different.
Yeah. And at first, when I first started sending these contracts out, it was like, take a deep breath, hit the send button. But I really didn't. It was like, if you want to know what's in this, here's my contract. And it is so detailed. And I feel so buttoned up sending it, and I feel like the client's going to be like, wow, this is going to be really worth it. Like she knows what she's doing. And then that gives like the responses that I'm getting back when I'm sending out my designs, I feel are so different now, because it's like, oh, Erin, I love this. I just feel like they have more confidence in my ability now, because I'm coming off more professional in the documentations and the schedules that I'm able to be able to say, okay, now that you've signed the contract, here's your schedule. This is what we're going to be going through. And they're like, oh, okay. And that clears up my anxiety about scheduling. It gets them their busy lives. It gets, meetings on their calendar and stuff. I'm probably I'm just rambling. I can't tell you enough about like how much I have loved everything about this.
No, it's seriously, thank you so much. It is a joy to hear that it's making this impact in your business. It makes all of it so worth it.
Good. Yeah.
We went out on a limb and we tried something, right? To put together a template of our business and see if we could, be helpful. And it just means everything to me to hear that it's working for you. So thank you. Thank you so much for sharing.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. It's been amazing.
Such good stuff. All right. So I have to ask you, we're getting ready to go into launch.
Yeah.
Someone who's hesitant about investing in the standard.
Someone who's hesitant, is that what you said? Yeah. I would tell them that don't be. Absolutely don't be. Whatever it is they're hesitant about, whether it's, is this going to be worth the cost? Am I going to get enough out of it? How long is it going to be until I recoup the cost of it? All of those, there are so many programs out there. I mean, just because it's like online this, I can help you do this, I can help you do that. Quieting some of that noise has to be done. This is not noise. This is not a program that is just to sell. Like you took exactly what is in your business and you're helping everybody. And just don't listen, quiet your mind and go for it. Because I mean, I've already recouped the cost tenfold within the first contract. It was like, oh my gosh, I cannot believe that I'm literally sending out my contract, not thinking twice about it. It's at a cost I don't think I've ever charged ever. And I felt so good about it. And I was like, I literally just made back my money and that was it. And again, there's programs out there and they cost more than what they cost, more than this costs. And so my slight hesitation was just like, okay, I don't know what's included. So I caught the live just sort of randomly. And so I started listening to the live and I was like, wait a minute, she's literally giving us her business, like from start to finish. And the thing that sealed it for me was that it's a lifelong thing. If you change your documentation, we are going to receive the updated documentation. Because I was like, oh my gosh, what if this goes stale? Like, because there's language of COVID in there right now. And so it's like, okay, I understand I could remove that, but what if something else huge happens? And, I'm a one-man show. And so for me, it's like, okay, if I get all of this documentation and it goes stale, who's there to pick it up and who's there to help me? So like, that's what sealed the deal for me. I was like, forget it. Like, I'm in. It's like having a second person that like helps, Yeah. So
your sounding board and knowing that like we're gonna, that COVID language will adapt into unforeseen, uncontrollable shit out of my cans,
Yeah.
Say it.
Right.
Things I can't.
Right.
It's so good. And again, you're such a gift to me to just be here, be willing to share your experience. It's your kindred spirit that you believe in abundance enough that you're also interested in other designers finding the program, increasing their revenues, increasing their confidence, and having a better business. It just means the world to me. Thank you so much.
Yeah. And thank you for everything. It's so funny because there was another designer that called me who found my review about the marketing firm that I worked with. And she said, I saw your review. I thought I would give you a call and really talk to you about what you got out of it. And so I talked her through it and I said, and by the way, if you're looking for like something to revamp your entire business, follow the marketing plan up with the standard. So she was like, oh my gosh, I'm totally going to check that out. So I'm already just telling everybody about it.
You are a gift. Thank you so much, Erin. I truly, truly appreciate it. And I will see
Yeah.
you, inside. So it's awesome.
Yes. Well, thank you. I appreciate everything that you have done for the community and me and my business. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. Awesome.
Bye.
Take care.
I don't know how to get off of this.
No one knows.
That's my mirror. Oh, did you see my whiteboard?
Yeah. Oh, you have the whiteboard going too? I love it.
I got the big whiteboard. That was part of what you saw.
Like my next most important thing is always looking at me. All right. Thank you, darling. So good to see you. All right. Cheers. Cheers to these standard members who are coming on here and are blowing my mind. I had this idea, right? And I remember I was sitting up at my cottage late night one night, and I was talking to my dad and my husband and my sister, and I was saying, I'm going to create the standard. I'm going to create a program to help all the other designers who I've met at the conferences and I've met through these amazing groups and everything, who don't have a business background and who don't, haven't gone through all the ups and downs and all the tough lessons. So I'm going to create this program. And they were both incredulous. No, you're not. You're not going to hand your competitors, all the business knowledge that you have. And my response was, it's a shame for it to just sit in my one little business, in my one little town, in my one little group of clients. Like, what a shame. This has been a labor of massive passion and love for 20 years. I want to share it, right? So much to the chagrin of my crazy family, here we are. Okay, Sandy B, let's see if we can get you on. I guess what I'm trying to say with that story is that I get busy with my day, right? I get busy with my life, with my firm, and it means the world to me to hear from you all. Sandy B, is it real?
Hi, nice to be here.
Thank you so much for being here. Welcome to Design Sips. Cheers if you're having a cocktail.
Cheers. Flame.
That's cool. What are you drinking? All right, so tell everyone about your firm, the size of your firm, where are you located?
So I'm originally from Toronto, Canada. I moved to Israel 16 years ago, and I started my business about 13 years ago. I have a business that services people living in Canada and the US, owning investment apartments and vacation apartments here in Israel. And I service also people who have moved to Israel, immigrants to Israel, who are English speakers. And we have a turnkey operation, starting with the concept development, project management, planning, down to the last pillow.
Beautiful, beautiful. Well, it sounds like an amazing business, and what a beautiful niche you found for yourself. It sounds incredible. So,
yeah,
around the world, tell us your story before the standard and after the standard. What were you struggling with, and what were your big takeaways?
So I find myself to be a very organized person, and I keep a lot of records. My clients are not here, so I'm coordinating everything for them, keeping all their records, all their receipts. I really, every client has their binder, and I found that I was lacking a system. And I found that the organization, my clients were organized, but on my end, what I was doing, I found that to be a bit disorganized. So the standard really helped me in organizing my systems. I found it difficult that all my clients had different needs, and I wasn't able to template the system. It was through the standard that I realized that it is templatable. I actually have been working with a business coach over the last year in scaling my business, and she kept telling me, you have to, template your system. And it was a mindset thing. I couldn't find that way to template the system. And it was through your templates that I was able to really grasp what it means to template, the Asana systems, and with the potential client and the client meetings and all the different steps involved.
Awesome.
So this all really propelled my business forward.
Oh, so great to hear. Awesome, awesome. And you know, I say this all the time, and I don't know, I'm going to say it again, that the standard works beautifully with a coach, right? It's not a replacement for a coach. It's not anti-coach. But a lot of coaches are going to recommend that you get things repeatable so that you can start to scale, or you can start to look for efficiencies, or you can look for duplications of work. And the standard dovetails beautifully with that. So it's a great system to use separate. It's a great system to use with a coach that you love and know.
Well, the thing is also that working with my coach, so I was working with generalizations. Where you're concerned, it's tailor-made to the interior design industry. So where she may have taught me different ideas and different tools, you have the actual template specified for the interior designer.
Yes, 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 yes. Well, and that comes from me just like, you know, nudging my projects along for the last 20 years. Yeah. Definitely in it. So yes, and it's a very detailed business, and it's almost difficult for other people to realize just how, you know, every pillow, every trim, every fabric, you know, the CFA, like just there's a lot that goes into every little thing that we do. And making sure nothing falls through the cracks is really important because those are some expensive cracks if you do luxury interior design, right?
Right. When my clients do come in and I spend the time with them, whether it's a week or 2 weeks that they're here, they say, how do you do this? How do you go through all these details? How do you remember everything? So it's through these processes.
Awesome. So, so good. Okay, so what has been your favorite resource inside the standard so far?
Really, it's been the Asana templates. I keep going back to that. It's been life-changing.
Awesome. They're huge. They're like my favorite thing on the planet. We're actually just went through and did a whole system for price increases because we're just seeing so many price increases in the industry. And I had a lot of projects that got put on hold. So I have clients that are coming back with old proposals. Well, the prices have all moved around since then, right? So I'm saying to my clients, you can approve and pay an old proposal, but if the item's discontinued, there'll be a design fee to reselect because, you know, this is outside of the standard 7 business days or 10 business days. And if there are price increases, they will be passed along to you, you know, that I'm not going to be able to hold prices that because it got put on hold. And this is all pandemic related. But I was in it with the systems yesterday and today. And I got to tell you, I love it. Like, I love going, well, no, that's a duplication of work. And no, that person should do that, not that person. This is the right person for that piece. And just working it out, it's like, that's just one of my little things that I like to get in there, and I go through it, clean it up. Is that okay? Is that as streamlined? And like, how, you know, are we pinging this around too many times? You know, we need to double check, but how many times do we need to look at this thing? So yeah, it's that's where my heart lies, is in that systemization.
It's just a click, click, click.
Yeah, it's all that. Yeah, and then once you get it going, you're like, oh my gosh, that just worked. It's so good. Okay, so tell me, were there any hesitations for you before you enrolled in the standard, and how did you push through them?
My hesitation, I felt like I wasn't 100% sure with what I was going to be getting. I originally came across your program with listening to a show with Luann, which I don't remember if you were on the show where she mentioned it, and then I checked it out. But I didn't feel like I really knew what we would be getting. I just got a good vibe about it. But like I said, I wasn't sure. But I do see that with some of your marketing that you've been doing, you've touched on that, and I do see more details coming out about it now. So I think that's great.
You know, it's so hard. It's funny. It was hard for us to communicate just how much we're giving you without sounding like, you know, a used car salesman. So it's interesting to try to market something where I'm like, you're basically getting my whole business. I'm just handing you the back end of my business, you know?
Yeah, so I think it's maybe hard to really grasp it and understand it. And I was in touch with you before the standard, and you recommended I be in touch with somebody else who had taken it the last. So I was in touch with her, and she really said, yes, you're going to be getting this and this, and it's packed of information. So that's really what clinched it for me. But I see that, like I said, some of your marketing I see now shows some of those examples, or it has more details. So I think that's, for you, I think that's great.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, we've received that feedback that people were like, I just wasn't quite sure it was going to be this much detail or this level. And we're like, we got to figure out how to say that better. So now I'm iterating. Never fails, right?
Right. Good.
All right. Well, you are a true gift to me. I really appreciate you being here and telling your story.
My pleasure.
You know, watching your business scale and grow is just, it's my pleasure to see it working for you.
Thank you. Thanks for everything.
Thank
Continued success to you and your firm.
Thanks. I will see you in our little community, and we're not going anywhere. We're going to keep it going.
All right.
Awesome.
Take care.
Thank you, too. Thank you. All right. So Sandy B is rolling. Sandra Funk is staying right here. I have to say to you all, thank you for hanging in here. Cheers to all of you who are watching this. Cheers to those standard members who just, they have my heart. They are, you know, it's the ones who invest in themselves, right? They bite off this challenge to go and level up their business. And as you can see, these four ladies implemented, they dove in, they watched the videos, they downloaded the templates. You've heard them say it. It's not homework, it's not busy work, it's grab it and go and run into your business with new and amazing information and resources and the language to make sure that you're setting amazing, amazing expectations with their clients. Some of the takeaways from what we just talked about for me were, yes, you're going to say out loud what a room typically is going to cost, right? You're going to say out loud your flat design fee, and you are going to have some potential clients tuck tail and run because they're not your client, right? Because they might like your aesthetics, but they don't fit into your container as far as scope or budget or whatever it is that they saw that doesn't fit for them. Now, in the past, before you were saying these things so clearly up front, you may have spent 4 hours with this potential client, right? You may have gone over to you may have had a phone call, you may have done some research on their home, you may have done some legwork around the design style that they were thinking of, you may have driven across town and went to their home and brought maybe some inspiration images and some examples, right? Now, you are cutting right to the chase. You are getting right down to the nitty-gritty. Here's who I am, here's who I serve, here are some example numbers around which we can, you know, talk real numbers so that we can really understand if we're talking about being in the right place with each other. So that's about efficiency. That's also about love. Like, that is loving on those potential clients. Like, you are the expert. You are teaching them. You are the one who has to say what it's going to take financially, time-wise, all of it, to make their project a reality. So don't withhold your brilliance. Don't withhold all that knowledge that they're coming to you to receive, right? If you can give them that knowledge, then you can end up, like we said, I only want dream clients. Well, this is how you get there. You have to really stand in your space. You have to own your container, your brackets, your parameters, right? Your boundaries. And then when you communicate those with love and with clarity, those who fit stay and those who don't move on with kindness and with clarity. It's not a mean thing that not everyone can work with you. It's just the nature of business, right? So we have that spot that we sit, we have that price point that we serve, and we need to communicate that clearly so that our clients can find us and that we can find them as well. So much of the strife of interior design comes from a lack of communication on the front end. So that's a big part of the standard, which I love that the people that were there today got that. So, all right. If you are on the fence about enrolling for the standard, I want you to reach out to me, because I would love to welcome you into our community. And if you're 100% in, you know you're going to be a standard member the next time we launch, and you are ready to enroll, I want you to go to interiordesignstandard.com and reserve your spot, okay? I want to make sure that you are in the next class, fall of 2021. So Any questions? What else do you need to know? Who do you need to speak to? I've got amazing standard members who have transformed their businesses and their lives, and they're dying to talk to you and tell you how you can do the same. I'm available. DM, reach out. We would love to talk to you, and we would love to see your business catapult forward. Be amazing. Be incredible. Join us in the standard. I'm Sandra Funk. This was Design Sips, and I will see you next week. Bye, y'all. You know when you try to turn it off